Coming up, the critique against Israel is coming not just from the left, but from the right. And I'm going to talk today about the need to frontally call out people, not just on the other side, but on our own side, because some of what's going on is just downright disturbing and malevolent. I'm also going to consider the promise and perils of Trump's plan to fix Gaza. And a real treat, comedian Roseanne Barr joins me. We're going to talk about Israel, about Gaza, about what it means to be a Jewish American and face the rising tide of not just anti-Israel, but anti-Jewish sentiment that's coming now from both sides of the political aisle. We're going to get into it. I'm really looking forward to it. Guys, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify or watching on YouTube, X, or Rumble, please subscribe to the podcast. Hit the subscribe, the follow, the notifications button. I'd really appreciate it. This is the Dinesh D'Souza podcast.
America needs this voice. The times are crazy. In a time of confusion, division, and lies, we need a brave voice of reason, understanding, and truth. This is the Dinesh D'Souza podcast.
Guys, the movie The Dragon's Prophecy is exactly 1 week away. So if you have been, as Debbie says, dithering, sometimes she says fiddle farting. I wouldn't really recommend that term, but nevertheless, if you've been waiting, procrastinating, now is the time to spring into action. And what that means is if you want to see the movie in the theater, which is, I make them for the theater. If you can possibly see it in the theater, you should. Go to thedragonsprophecyfilm.com, put in your zip code, boom, the theaters around you will pop up. It's in about 400 theaters, so it's in a lot of places around the country. Now, it doesn't cover all the country, so it is possible that you'll be in an area where the film is a little too far away, in which case you say, hey, I'm going to watch it at home, no problem. October 6th and October 8th in the theater, so next Monday, next Wednesday. And then October 9th, Thursday, it'll be available for streaming. If you order DVDs, and you can pre-order them now, they will land in your mailbox. So either way, whether it's the theater, whether it's at home, you need to move, you need to make plans, you need to take action. And that action is go to the website, The Dragons plural, The Dragons Prophecy, Prophecy film.com, and sign up to watch the film. Get your family, get your friends, get everyone you know to do it. You won't regret it. It's I think, my most profound film in many ways. And it engages not just the political, not just the cultural, but even the spiritual and the biblical, and integrates them into a tapestry that I promise you're not going to soon forget. It's one of those films that gives you chills. It's one of those films that will be very informative, but also very moving. Now, one thing I want to say about the film is I'm going to jump head first into this debate on the right over Israel and over America's interests. I'm doing it not from the point of view of what's good for Israel or Israel first. No, they can be Israel first over there. We're going to be America first over here. And so our assessment of Israel is going to be from the American point of view. And in the political sphere, that's what matters. What is Israel doing for us? Not what we can do for them. And what sort of ROI, what return on investment? If we're going to give Israel $3.8 billion a year, which is a lot of money, now not a lot in the big scheme of things. If you just look at our foreign aid budget, which, by the way, is wasted in so many ways all around the world, we give it to people who hate us, who give us the middle finger, who do nothing for us. And in my view, Israel is doing a lot. Why? Because they're on the front lines of clobbering radical Islam. Radical Islam, which is the biggest ideological threat facing the world today, facing us today. And this radical Islam is not confined to Israel. It's not just, it's all about Hamas. Radical Islam is baked in Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. Look at all the people who did 9/11. They didn't come out of Gaza. They didn't come out of the West Bank. This is a worldwide project. And it's not only putting the Middle East in flames, driven by places like Iran. Let's remember that the radical Muslims understand the stakes, right? It's death to Israel, little Satan, but it's death to America, big Satan. That's the thing that they love chanting about the most. They mostly burn the American flag, not the Israeli flag. And on top of this, you have this Islamic infiltration of the West, of Australia, of Canada, of most of Europe. They're even trying it now in Japan. Certainly we see it here in America. So again, this is the radical Islamic project is about the caliphate. And it's about a global caliphate with all of us, in a sense, you could say, genuflecting or bending the knee. And Israel is a part of that. And Israel is on the front line of it right now. And Israel is doing it in a way that we don't know how to do. If you take a simple example, just look at all those Hamas guys. Hello, Abdul, are you ready to become a suicide bomber? And then bam, bam, the pages blow up. So this is carried out by Israel with an ingenuity, a kind of strategic brilliance that it seems like our goofballs are not capable of. They've certainly not done anything remotely like it. And if you look at our record of fighting Islamic radicalism, it is just downright pathetic. First of all, Jimmy Carter pulls the Persian rug out from under the Shah, and we get Khomeini. Bam, radical Islam gets a hold of its first major state. Then you have the Clinton errors where he knows where bin Laden is but doesn't do anything about it. We get 9/11. Then we go over to Afghanistan. We push the Taliban out, but guess what? They're back in power. So that's turned out to be a long-term failure. Then Obama tries to turn over Egypt to the Muslim Brotherhood. In fact, he succeeds for a duration, although that project has also failed. And then we have the big mess in Iraq. So one failure on top of another. So here with Israel, you have a bunch of guys, you have a small country that seems by itself to be able to take on the Islamic radicals in Sudan and in Yemen and in Qatar and in Turkey and in Iran. And what do they want from us? Well, they want to borrow a B-2 bomber overnight for 24 hours, along with some fighter jets to protect that B-2 bomber. And the B-2 bomber discharges basically 3 large bombs. Bam, bam, bam. That's the end of Iran's nuclear facilities. And who does that benefit? Does that benefit Israel? Yes, it does. Does it benefit us? Just as much. So all of this, the politics of the moment, are fully in this film. The film is also unafraid to take on the right. And by that, I mean, I'm talking about Candace Owens. I'm talking about Tucker Carlson. Look, these are people I've had dealings with over the years. I spoke pretty regularly for Candace at Brexit. I think I've mentioned on the podcast, I did a tour just 12 months ago, a little more than 12 months ago with Tucker in Australia. And we spoke in a number of cities. And we were sponsored by this Australian tycoon or billionaire, and we were on very cordial terms. Of course, none of this stuff came up. But as I watch it with increasing dismay, because it looks to me, this is not a kind of honest debate about what are America's real interests. Let us do a cost-benefit analysis of what we're getting out of Israel. Netanyahu is going too far. He shouldn't be doing this. He should be doing this instead. It's none of that. It's the most poisonous kind of insinuation, almost serpentine, by which I mean dragon-like. The phrase the dragon in the dragon's prophecy really refers to the devil himself. And the devil is a tempter. The devil doesn't get over Adam and Eve except by saying, oh, well, listen, why don't you take a bite of this apple, well, did God tell you it's going to kill you? Well, I've eaten the apple. It hasn't killed me. Give it a try. Maybe you're going to become wise like God. So this kind of, maybe, try this out. Well, have you thought about this? So it's questions without answers. It is, quote, personal investigations that throw out all this inflammatory suggestions. Maybe a Mossad agent climbed out of a pipe and shot Charlie Kirk. Now, I don't know that to be true, but I think it needs to be looked at. So all of this kind of ugly, baseless, not a shred of evidence to prove it. And all these investigations, you notice, lead absolutely nowhere. They're investigations that never produce answers. They stir the pot, they stir the emotions, They Pied Piper style lead a lot of young people to the edge of the cliff. And these young people already are struggling, they're suffering, some of them have addictions, they are living in their parents' basements, they don't see a future. The American dream has in some ways let them down. So their fears, their anxiety, I sympathize with. It is in fact legitimate. But what I don't sympathize with is the crass manipulation of it. That is what I think is truly diabolical. This film does not, even though the film operates at a very sublime level, the level of biblical archaeology, biblical prophecy, putting things in a large context. At the same time, it is unafraid to call people out and to do it in a very firm way and to do it in a documented way. That's the key point. I've been an iconoclast all my life, calling things into question, but I do it on the basis of facts. And I'm embarrassed by this kind of juvenile kind of iconoclasm, this sort of iconoclasm for stupid people, this iconoclasm that relies on what in rhetoric is called the argumentum ad ignorantium, the argument that appeals to the ignorance of the audience. And again, I don't blame the audience, I don't blame the young people, I do blame the Pied Pipers who are championing all this. Now, let me say a few words about the Trump plan in Gaza, because I think a lot of it is very good, but there are a couple of things that I don't agree with, and I want to highlight them. Now, all of this is based on Trump's idea that, listen, Gaza can be a Riviera. And of course, this is very typical with Trump. When he says it, people go, oh, it's ridiculous. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And then the more you think about it, the more you realize, what is Trump saying? What he's basically saying is, these people have lived with war. They are inured to war. They are indoctrinated into terrorism. So this is a dysfunctional society in Gaza that has been created by Hamas. Hamas could have done it differently. They could have built a Riviera. They chose not to. But I think Trump's idea is, okay, the path is still available to them. What if we create an administrative structure administered, in a sense, neutrally or from the outside, involving a lot of the Arab countries, involving European countries, involving the United States, basically guaranteeing that in Gaza there's going to be a path to peace, to safety, and even to prosperity. So yes, you can send your kids with armored vests to blow themselves up, or you can have access to a small apartment. You can have the prospect of a decent job, which will allow you to look after your family. You will have safe neighborhoods. And if you're creative, if you're ingenious, if you want, do like the Israelis do, build a new society that's based on productivity, based on technology, take advantage of AI. It's not going to take you 100 years to develop. You can develop in 5 years. You can develop in 10 years. Now, will the people of Gaza take this option, or are they too sick? Are they too demented? Have they been twisted beyond recognition, to which a good path, a wholesome path, a peaceful path is unappealing to them? They go, we don't want that. I saw a woman on television who said something like, two of my sons have already been killed in the war, and you expect her to say, I've got 2 more, I don't want to lose them, I'm drawing the line here. That's what we would expect her to say, but that is not what she says. She says, I can't wait to sacrifice the next 2. They are ready to be martyrs. So it could be that the people of Gaza are in a position where this other path, you can almost call it the bright path, is unappealing. They are at a place where they can't see it, they don't want it, they reject it, and they choose the dark path, and they want to continue going where they're going. And in that case, this plan will fail. But I wanted to emphasize that Trump is, I think, in a very bold and imaginative way, giving them a way out. Now, I think the plan goes way too far in the sense that it even offers Hamas a way out. It tells Hamas, look, you're not going to be in power, but on the other hand, if you want to take off, if you want to leave, we will give you safe passage. And it essentially allows Hamas to survive this. Now, does this mean Hamas can regroup elsewhere and come back? It's hard to say. But I think with Trump, you have a kind of weariness of how long this has dragged on. I do agree with those people who say, look, Israel should have really started this retaliation in a major way on October 8th. I mean, who could have Who would even object if Israel just even went in there and even carpet bombed Gaza, which I'm not recommending, but I'm saying they could have gotten away with it. And it'd be very difficult for people to say that's a moral outrage after what happened on October 7th. It's a reality of social media in our day that if you let this kind of drag out, people forget about October 7th. Now, I'm not going to let them do that in the sense that my film begins with October 7th. And by the way, it's coming out right around October 7th, the theatrical dates, October 6th, October 8th. It's going to start by taking you right to the scene of October 7th, and you're going to be riding in with the terrorists across the fence into Israel. You're going to see it from the Hamas point of view. Why? Because Hamas is the one that filmed it. I don't think it's possible to intelligently comment on this subject or even to understand it without starting where it all began, namely with October 7th. So the film starts there. It hardly ends there. It expands from that point to all kinds of avenues of understanding, that some of which you may not even have thought about. It brings up questions and answers that are not even on the table right now, like looking for resonances in ancient battles between the Israelites and the Philistines, and drawing out a very specific, like point-by-point comparison between the Israelites and the Philistines then versus Israel and Hamas now. It's all very mind-blowing and mind-expanding, and you're going to find it, I think, very, very riveting. I can't say if I'm optimistic or pessimistic about this Trump plan, but I will say I'm really hopeful about it, because I don't just feel for Israel. I mean, I also feel for the civilians in Gaza. I do want them to at least have the option of a better life. We can't force them to take it. But the civilian casualties, this is a line I use in the film, are on either side a victory for the dragon. And by that I mean the devil rejoices when you have this kind of carnage. And I quote a line, and I'm going to leave you with this. In the film, it's from the former Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir. To me, I was struck by the profundity of it. It goes back to something she said in the 1970s in one of her books. She goes, "We can forgive the Arabs for killing our children, but we can never forgive them for making us kill their children." Wow. I think this is profound because it captures the moral ambiguity of warfare. It shows that what is particularly dragon-like or evil, diabolical about all this, is that the good guys which is Israel, are being put in an impossible situation. It's like the guy who does a home invasion on you, kills your wife, rapes your daughter, shoots your kids, runs away, you chase him with your gun, but then he emerges from a van and he's got his wife and his 6 kids and he sticks them in front of him and he goes, "I dare you to shoot. These are civilians." And so he's making you, in an attempt to get him and only him, he is nevertheless trying to extract out of you civilian casualties, to bring you down into the moral ditch with him. But let's remember the responsibility for that is on him, not on you. He was the home invader. He is the guy who is using his own wife and kids as a human shield. But regardless of who's doing it, there is a certain kind of evil here that even the good people are being sucked into, implicated in. By the way, all of this is brought out, I think, in a very moving and profound way. So let me close once again by directing you to move. Go to the dragonsprophecyfilm.com. Check out your tickets. Sign up for DVDs. This is also a great film to share. And I'm suggesting this not because this is a project somehow removed from the world. It is right there in the middle of all the issues that we're debating now. So the film, it was less timely when I made it. It's become more timely now. And to watch it, you'll feel like I completed this film just about the day before yesterday. More than 10,000 people turn 62 every single day in our country. So having enough money for retirement is not an easy thing to manage. The most underutilized and misunderstood financial planning tool is home equity wealth. I recently read a book that opened my eyes to a new way to fund retirement. I got it from Movement Mortgage. It's called Home Equity and Reverse Mortgages, the Cinderella of the Baby Boomer Retirement. I can get you a free copy. You see, most people think reverse mortgages are a loan of last resort. You shouldn't get one unless you're broke and you don't have any heirs. But this is not true. The truth is you should consider inviting this Cinderella to your retirement ball. You can increase cash flow, you can decrease taxes, you can preserve investment accounts, you can give your kids more while you are alive. You can also leave a larger legacy. So if you're over 62, know someone who is, get this free book. You have nothing to lose. Go to movement.com/Dinesh, or you can call 580-REVERSE. That's 580-738-3773. You'll be glad you did. NMLS ID 39179. I know a thing or two about being targeted by the government, but hey, don't give them a reason to target you. Owing the IRS back taxes? Well, that's a good way to get targeted. Are your tax returns still unfiled? Did you forget to file for an extension? The October 15th deadline is fast approaching. Time is running out. So if you haven't gathered all your documents or made any estimated payments, you could soon be targeted by the IRS. Not good. They can garnish your wages, freeze your bank accounts, even seize your property. They have a lot of power. But there is help available. Tax Network USA. This is a nationwide tax firm. They have helped taxpayers save over $1 billion in tax debt. They filed hundreds of thousands of tax returns. They've assisted thousands in reducing their tax burdens, and they can help you too. So don't despair and don't wait. Visit TN, this is Tax Network, tnusa.com/Dinesh, or you can call 800-958-1000. You get a 100% free consultation. In one short call, the experts at Tax Network USA will guide you through some simple questions to determine how much you can save. Take action now before it's too late. Call 1-800-958-1000 or go to tnusa.com/Dinesh. Guys, I'm just delighted to welcome to the podcast Roseanne Barr, who needs no introduction at all. She is an absolute legend in the field of comedy, but she's not an ordinary comedian. She represents almost a kind of persona, a defender of individualism, telling it like it is, a defender of common sense and, you could say, working class values. She's played those characters in an unforgettable way, and we are having her on to speak her mind on things going on in the world today. Her website is roseannebarr.com. Follow her on X. I think it's the real Roseanne Barr, if I'm right from memory. Roseanne, thank you for joining me. We're getting to be good buddies here because yesterday Debbie and I came to your neck of the woods. We hung out and ate some chocolate croissants. I mean, Debbie didn't, but I did. And then we had a really nice, like a 90-minute, I don't know what you call it. It was just a freewheeling conversation on your show. And of course, I was thrilled that you and your son Jake watched the movie, The Dragon's Prophecy. Maybe I could start just by asking you to say a word about the film, and then let's talk a little bit about the day and also about issues in the news.
Well, the movie, first of all, it was cinematographically beautiful. It was just astonishing to see it, and of course, it also was a great antithesis to all the stuff you see on media everywhere, because as we talked about on my podcast, we're under some kind of mind control in our country that is anti-Christian and anti-Jewish, anti-Israeli, and it's all propaganda. And your movie, based on Jonathan Cahn's book, The Dragon's Prophecy?
Yes, exactly.
And so it goes step by step about biblical prophecy in the land of Judea, Samaria, Israel. And you really put it all together. And it was so uplifting for all of us who feel overwhelmed by the, just kind of being buried alive under lies and Hamas propaganda, Qatari propaganda in the United States. And nobody seems to say what it really means or where it leads to, but you did. And I felt like it was just heaven inspired, beautiful. The music is astonishingly beautiful. And it is an opportunity to cleanse your soul and get back in touch with what's really happening in the world above and beyond the propaganda and mind control we're under, and get back to the basic source of our beliefs and where we come from and what we're here for. So it was like going to synagogue or church, or it was spiritually moving and grounding, and we were just so happy to see it. It was like a liberation from all of that. It was the words of God, and it was just beautifully done, and we love it. I've watched it about 3 times, and I'm just in awe of your filmmaking has so improved. I've watched all your films, and this one you went so deep into the soul of believers, and I just appreciate it. I'm such a fan of it, and I just congratulate you for being in touch with source and bringing it back to that, because we really need it in America, because America is the number one target besides Israel, but it is about America even more than it is about Israel. And I just appreciated it and loved it, and I recommend it to everybody. You should see it before you form an opinion, and if you have formed an opinion, this will rid you of all false assumptions. It's a great, great movie.
Well, that means so much, and especially coming from someone who has been in the entertainment world, a good film when you see it. It's very touching, and to me, a great honor to hear you say that. Let me kind of get into the heart of the matter, because I will say that sitting with you and your family, I sensed a real anxiety, a deep fear that we are kind of losing the soul of our country. And that this threat is coming not just from the left, where to some degree we expect it, but it is coming from our own side. And this is something we talked a lot about on your podcast, but I want my listeners and viewers to get your take on this. At one point, your son even said something like, "Mom, should we stay in America?" And I was a little shocked to hear him say that, not even to answer the question, but the very fact that the question itself would be considered. Do you think we are at one of those pivotal moments where we are, you can say, morally speaking, at a fork in the road?
I do. I do. But I ask myself, is it because I peruse social media? Is it something that's just happening on social media, or has it spilled out to the larger population? But social media is like the egg, and I have watched it spill out. I've watched it spill out into comedy clubs where I perform, and it threatens to go mainstream, I call it mainstream, Main Street America. It threatens that. And all these podcasters we talked about on my podcast that are just asking questions, and we define that as they're really poisoning the well, and it's coming from the right and people that we thought were MAGA. And that at a time when finally, as my son said, when we had the left totally defined and caught, and we were set to be able to win every election for the next 10 years because we had them caught, and they're finally getting indicted and named and, hopefully arrested for overthrowing our constitutional republic. As you made a film about, the theft of elections. And finally, when that's coming, just bubbling up in the consciousness of Americans, they turned on MAGA, and they did that by Israel did it Israel did it, 2 days after, well, it wasn't even 2 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Oh, Israel did it. Israel did 9/11. Israel killed JFK. All of the, finger pointing and scapegoating of Jews, and everything they call us their code name Zionists, neocons, everything. It's such the welcoming back of the world's oldest hatred, and and it comes from our side. And why? To split MAGA, to take MAGA down. And, it's just horrifying to see it, because the same people co-opted and now, what do you call it? Colonize the Democrats, realized that that wasn't enough. They had to come over to the right and do it. And they do it by the tool of anti-Semitism, which is really a tool of power to begin the split in a culture. And of course, they never stop with the Jews. What starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews. Then they go to the next group. What's that? Well, the mentally unwell, people like Pol Pot did, people who wear glasses, people who are college educated, people who wear red ties. I mean, Pol Pot went that far too. And I don't see any difference between totalitarians on the left or the right. They have the same goal: total control, authoritarian lockdown of any dissent. And, that's where I see it. It's like a whirlwind that can't be stopped. And former voices that we trusted and loved, like Tucker Carlson, which we discussed yesterday, spouting out this stuff against our only ally in the Middle East. Israel is all that stands between a total caliphate in the Middle East, and they want that gone too. And I mean, they're just tools of the caliphate. And as they point the finger at Israel, places like Dearborn, Michigan grow in their own country, and they say nothing about it, as they say nothing about the massacre and genocide of Christians in Nigeria and other Muslim countries. They blame Jews for that too, but it's Islam that's killing them. Like Tucker Carlson's, reports on how Christians are mistreated in Israel, which he keeps doubling down on, even though I send him information about Bethlehem, that you're saying Jews are oppressing Christians, is an Islamic city under Palestinian Authority. That's who's oppressing Christians. Christians do great in Israel. In fact, it's the only place in the Middle East where they are protected, as are women. And then he doubled down and said, East Jerusalem, the Israeli government is oppressing. So I just have to keep doing research. And I sent him to refute your lies about East Jerusalem. They're under Palestinian Authority too. That isn't Israeli government. It's when Islam moves in, they demand Sharia law under Palestinian Authority, just like in Dearborn. The mayor of Dearborn, the first thing he said last week, he said, no Christians are allowed here. He didn't say no Jews are allowed here. It is a war on Christianity in every way, as much as it's a war on Jews. But, right now, they are genociding Christians in the Middle East and North Africa and Africa itself. And to blame Jews is just satanic. It's just demonic and horror. It's misinformation, disinformation, and in service of what? To have a Dearborn in every blue state in America? You bet your butt it is. And do they know it? Are they willfully doing it or ignorantly doing it? At this point, it doesn't matter. And, I never expected that I would be a spokesperson for the Jewish state, or, I never thought I would do that. But it comes down to this: if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? And it's that age-old Jewish thing, if not now, when? And it hit me right between the eyes, and I had to step up. there was no way, because I don't feel that American Jews are mostly liberal and they don't see it. They're so blinded by progressivism. They're under that kind of mind control in this country. And so I had to, and now I found myself in that position. And I was glad to speak to you about it. And you are an enlightened human being who sees what's really going on. And, I'm thankful for you. And I'm thankful to share this planet with you at this time.
Well, it's, as you know, my earlier films have all been about the meaning of America in one way or another. This film is a real departure for me, but I couldn't be more sort of honored to be part of this debate, because I feel like it's suddenly come to a head. It's come to a head like right now. I didn't even know how timely all this would be when I was making the film. I was interested in biblical archaeology. I wanted to explore the issues around October 7th. I did not anticipate, at least when I started the film, this kind of right-wing critique and the vehemence of it and the malevolence of it. And like you say, it is not only a threat to the Jews, it's not only a threat to America, it threatens the whole Trump coalition. It's splitting it right down the middle. It's cutting off young people from older people. And you mentioned the Charlie Kirk case. I mean, here you have, in a way, it's providing, I would say, a defense for the shooter, right? You got the suspected shooter. Yeah. He's part of this trans network. They're talking on Discord about how they are even predicting what's going to happen the next day. And so you have the FBI closing in on this. We stand to bust Antifa, bust this trans network. And then along comes like Tucker and Candace and a bunch of other people. And they're basically going, well, listen, there's a pipe that you can see in the photo. Maybe some Mossad agent crawled out of it. And I'm like, are you people out of your mind? And what are you doing? Why are you taking our eye off what actually happened and trying to blame it on the Jews? I mean, what could be more demented than that?
Well, that's the nature of, of evil. I like I told you yesterday, I forget who said it, but hell is a place where there is no reason, and that is exactly what's going on here, because everything defies and poo-poos reason, which is what's right in front of your face is poo-pooed, and what is celebrated are deep conspiracies. Sometimes the conspiracies turn out to be true, by the way, but conspiracy theories that all lead back to Jews is so medieval. It's just medieval. It's just a medieval hatred that it can't be anything more than a satanic thing, because in the Torah, it says that God created this world to serve as a place where good and evil would fight till the end. And, the devil against good and against God. And that's how I see it, because people who would buy a satanic or an evil or a devil, which is what the dragon is, right? To be drawn away from what's right in front of their eyes to something that is unproven, unsubstantiated, and make-believe. That is the war. That is the war against reason. And people are really caught up in it. And I fear for American youth, because they are the target of it all. And it starts with, like we talked about, it starts with the institutions, which are peopled by professors and experts that they want to destroy everything good. They really, really do. They want to destroy the foundations of Western world. They hate God. They really do. They like that Yuval, what's his name? They want to weaken our strength, our spirit, and the spark of divinity within each of us that God put there. They want us to forget that, and that we would just be their docile followers that have no strength of spirit, no ability to defy them. they outlaw defiance and dissent. And, they're evil. They're out of touch with people, out of touch with the way things really work. And they do look at themselves as God men. And, we have to watch really closely to see how the real God is making them fall. And people aren't watching that close enough either. How they're resigning, how they're disappearing, how they are vacating their positions of power and being replaced by people who actually have integrity. That's happening every day. And people are not seeing that. They don't know what to look for because they aren't looking at reality. And like I say, the only reality on this planet is the reality of God. It's not the reality of the machinations of man. And people have forgotten that. They've tried to separate us from that. But, you have to hold on really tight. And that's the war.
I thought one of the points that we brought out yesterday that has really got to the bottom of it was it's not just that you've got good and evil. It's that we have a moral inversion in which people are saying that good is evil and evil is good. And that goes far beyond merely, embracing evil and rejecting good. You're just trying to create a morally upside down world. And you're doing it. And I think the people who are doing it, it's not the young people who get the blame for this, because a lot of them are suckers and some of them have historical amnesia. They don't know anything. But the people who know better, those are the people who are the true Pied Pipers, of the dragon, if I can put it that way. Let's close out, Roseanne, with a phrase you used yesterday. It was new to me, not new to Debbie, but new to me. And I just want you to expound it a little bit. Chrislam. You mentioned the phrase Chrislam. I'd never heard it before. What is Chrislam?
Chrislam is the one world religion that is part of UN Agenda 30. They want a one world religion. And what it is, in fact, Chrislam, is the destruction of both Christianity and Judaism. And like I say, they are actually Zionists themselves, but they just want an Israel with no Jews in it. So think about that. And, it's all for the caliphate, and everything in the Western press is under their control. They control, Qatar. It actually controls all of our universities and all of our institutions, and they are the ones that say APAC, they're parrots, APAC, Zionism, they're the ones saying it. And that they make our youth think it's cool to say it is just more of the dragon. And, the reason that they are the dragon is because they are not for any religious freedom. They are not for the equality of women. They are not for the rights of Christians. They are actually anti any minority religion. They've already killed all the Baha'i. They've killed all the Zoroastrians. They've killed every minority group in the Levant. They're after the Druze too. I mean, these are supremacist imperialists, and their religion is too. And for Americans not to see it as it closes in on them is just terrifying to me. And that's why I say maybe it's time for us Jews, and maybe this is the time to leave America. But I can't leave because I can't leave yet, and I pray that God will let me know when and if it is time before America crashes, if that is God's will. And sometimes it looks that way. But I love this country, and I think it was a place that God set up, and to be part of he wants freedom. God wants liberty. He wants freedom. He wants the people to create wealth and be happy. And, to see America turn to the dark side, I will fight it as long as I can until it threatens my life. Then I'm going to go. And I thought maybe God wanted me to go to Israel, because from there I could actually write and speak to the American people without the Muslim Brotherhood firing me and censoring me, as I've been kicked off of every platform because that's what I talk about, the Qatari Muslim Brotherhood. So maybe I'm supposed to go there so that I can tell Americans, if they have any opening in their mind control to hear it. Otherwise, it's not going to last. That's my fear.
Very scary stuff, sobering and very powerful. Guys, I've been talking to the one and only Roseanne Barr, her website, roseannebarr.com. Roseanne, we decided at the end of yesterday we should hang out more and do this more often. It was really a pleasure to see you yesterday. I look forward to connecting with you again soon in the future. Thank you very much.
God bless America.
MyPillow is excited to announce they're having their biggest 3-in-1 sale ever, with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So let's go. MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88, any color, any style, any size, even king size. Regular price $119.98, now only $29.88. Go for it, because once they're gone for good. My towels, they're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular price $69.98, now just $39.98. And for the first and only time, get the limited edition premium My Pillows. These are made with Giza cotton. They have a designer gusset, queen size $17.98, kings just $19.98. Also, for a limited time, when you order over $100, you get free shipping. You also get $100 in free digital gifts. Call 800-876-0227. That's 800-876-0227. Or go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Dinesh. You get the best offers ever. Quantities are limited, so order now. Go to mypillow.com and use the promo code DINESH, Dinesh.
Is the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians the revival of an ancient conflict recorded in the Bible?
The nation of Israel is a resurrected nation. What if there was going to be a resurrection of another people, an enemy people of Israel?
Dinesh D'Souza went into a war zone to make his new film. It offers a new way to understand October 7th, Israel, radical Islam, anti-Semitism, and biblical prophecy. Could the fate of the world, of humanity itself, be tied to this place?
We came back to a land that was largely barren and empty, and we brought it back to life, and we're going to keep it.
The Dragon's prophecy isn't just about the Middle East. It's about you.
Because without that Jewish foundation, there is no Christianity.
Based on Jonathan Cahn's international bestseller, in theaters October 6th and 8th. Streaming and DVDs available October 9th. Get the film at thedragonsprophecyfilm.com. This film contains graphic violence of October 7th.
Guys, I want to talk about an issue that you may not really have thought about very much. And we talk a lot in this country about crime, and we often think about crime as, hey, I'm on the street, I'm going to get carjacked, or I'm going to get mugged. But we don't think about crime that's happening sort of right under our noses. And I'm thinking specifically about nefarious efforts to steal your home title, to basically take it away from you without you even really knowing about it. Now, I've owned, a bunch of different homes through the years in my life. It's not something I've worried about, but evidently I need to. So I want to welcome to the podcast Tom Simon. He's a former FBI agent. He's got 26 years of experience in white-collar crime, counterterrorism, national security. He now leads Simon Worldwide, which is an investigative firm specializing in fraud, corporate embezzlement. And Tom, welcome to the podcast. Great to have you. This is something that people may not be familiar with, which is that somebody can appropriate or claim your home title that you own, that you're paying on. It's your house, you're living in it. And yet they can sort of whisk off your title, put it in their name, do all kinds of stuff with it. I want you to walk us through how this could possibly happen. So what is house stealing, home title fraud, Why has it become an issue today?
Sure. It's surprisingly easy to do. Criminals have the ability to file a deed in your county to transfer ownership of your home into their name. And then what do? They either sell that house out from under you or go out and get a loan using your home as collateral that they're never going to pay back. And you won't even know this occurred until the foreclosure notices start arriving in your mailbox months later.
Now, you mentioned that they can make a claim to your house. Aren't there some built-in like protections or safeguards from the county or just our real estate system to protect against this happening? It sounds like that there's a sort of a vulnerability or loophole in our sort of legal process or our governmental process that even enables something so outrageous to happen in the first place.
You got that right, Dinesh. The county clerks is sort of the weak link in the chain. Their job is solely to record the deeds. They have, by statute, no ability to verify the authenticity of the deeds that come in the door, transferring ownership of your home away from you.
And now let's say this happens to you or happens to me. Who are the people that they target? Are they targeting wealthy households, middle-income households, all over the place? Who are these criminals, and do they operate individually or in a network? What is the scheme here?
What I've seen in my investigations is that anyone who has equity in their home is a potential target. For most Americans, including myself, one's home equity is probably the largest asset that they have. And if you're not keeping an eye on it, bad guys can come in and literally take it from you, get a loan, and then create all sorts of havoc in the ownership structure of your home. And keeping track of it is a heavy lift for most people.
I think what you're kind of saying is that, look, you can either, if this happens to you, you can deal with it later, which is going to be a major problem. You already have issues with the legality. Somebody else is claiming to own your house, and you now have to sort out a massive mess. Or you can try to preempt this from happening in the first place so that you won't be a victim of it.
Exactly. By the time you've learned that your home has been stolen, you are in for a legal nightmare. I've spoken to so many crime victims who have suffered home title theft. And it's scary for them, right? They're facing foreclosure from a real live bank who lent money thinking that the deed was legitimate. And so they're looking at a lot of legal fees to try to unwind this. But there are solutions out there.
All right. So let's walk me through the process. Somebody takes over my home title. They claim it's theirs. Now, they haven't been presumably making the payments on it. I have. So I'm the mortgage holder. I'm living in the house. How would I go about even trying to retrieve the title and make sure that I am in full control of it rather than these thieves?
Well, there are options out there. The option that I don't like is you spending an absolute fortune out of your own pocket to make this right by hiring a bunch of attorneys. I endorse a product called Home Title Lock. And what they do is they have what they call triple lock protection. They monitor the title of your home 24/7. And then if there's any change in the status of your title, you get a notification. And then after that, if someone has taken the time to place a lien on your home wrongfully or transfer the title into someone else's name, they're going to pay $1 million in attorney fees to get that unwound. And so it takes the burden off the victim's shoulders, and Home Title Lock has experts in place who can make it right.
What you're basically saying is that you've got a product, you represent a product that can preempt all this, right? In other words, can give you the peace of mind of believing that, hey, you know what? I've been paying for this. I've been putting my life savings into it. I've been building it over time. And I get to keep it, right? I don't have to look over my shoulder all the time to think that somebody might be stealing it out from under me. Now, you said that the mechanism of ensuring this protection is a kind of constant surveillance of my title to make sure that it remains in my name.
Exactly. You're going to drive yourself crazy searching the county clerk of your where you live every day to make sure that your title hasn't been changed. The idea of a home title lock is to outsource that to professionals who would do it for you and then notify you if there's a problem and then restore that home back into your name if it's stolen.
Guys, this seems like a kind of a no-brainer. It's peace of mind. It's a way to sleep easy. And, we're not talking here about somebody stealing your watch or a nice pair of shoes. We're talking about your home, which for most of us is the primary source of our wealth. I've been talking to Tom Simon, licensed private investigator. By the way, Home Title Lock, the website is hometitlelock.com/Dinesh, because if you use the promo code, you're going to get a free title history report. Very good for looking back and making sure that you don't have any problems already now. You also get a free trial of their triple lock protection, so check it out. You really have nothing to lose. It's hometitlelock.com/Dinesh. And Tom Simon, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me on, sir.
Subscribe to the Dinesh D'Souza podcast on Apple, Google, and Spotify, or watch on Rumble, YouTube, and SalemNow.com.